Artist Residency. Today, we are lucky to feature the artist Rehab El Sadek in her home studio during her stay-in-place residency. Rehab is one of the 12 artists selected this year out of a pool of 157 applicants to our program. We are honored to have you collaborate with us for a residency. Rehab El Sadek is an Egyptian-born conceptual artist whose career spanned over 25 years, working and exhibiting in over 17 countries and on 4 continents. She currently lives and works in Austin, Texas. Utilizing mediums such as sound, photography, sculpture, and the written word, her work explores issues relating to immigration, belonging, communication, and language. She has initiated workshops and creative social practice interventions on issues ranging from women's rights in the Sinai to the challenges facing disadvantaged children in Nairobi. Hello, Rehab.
Hi, Sue.
Thank you so much for joining us. Well, we wish
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, we wish we could host you right here in Good Heart. We are happy to have this opportunity to introduce you to our community and to hear more about your creative practice. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe that may not be part of your resume or CV.
Well, thank you for this introduction, and I wish I was able to join you guys physically, but that's also giving me a chance to be, working from home in this time is very valuable. Thank you for doing this. And about myself, something that is not in the CV is I'm an art educator too. So I do love teaching art, and I love teaching. I have valuable experiences with different ages. And the cool thing that very young, young people, they always called my name right, Rehab. Sometimes I'm in a doctor's office and, people call me Rehab. And I'm like, And I start laughing because it reminds me of Amy Winehouse Rehab song. So I keep I think it's funny.
Okay, thank you. When do you think your interest in the arts started and why?
Okay, my interest in art, I don't know when, because I have grown up in, my dad studied history and Latin, and I grew up surrounded by books from all over the place with different languages before I even start to read any foreign language or any language. I would look at books, just go and sit on the floor and have books around me and play with his typewriter. And it's been always it developed and then developed, and I don't know why. I wanted to be an archaeologist, but it wasn't in Egypt. It wasn't there was not available a major archaeology major available. So I thought about that art sculpture is gonna get me to know more and investigate more about all the questions I had and all the curiosity I had. So and then I studied painting, which is not very different, but I decided that painting is the base for anything else I want to do. And I took painting for, our major was 5 years, 1 year for everything and 4 years. So I got 4 years of painting, and it helped me a lot. It was challenging because it wasn't what I really wanted to do, but at the same time, it helped me a lot to see everything else as an open door. So yeah, so I don't know when.
Okay.
It's all, yeah.
It definitely sounds like you were a curious child, which you
Very
could
much
do anywhere, but
very much.
Yeah.
Very quiet I was too. That's, yeah. Usually curious children run around. I was the other way.
You are described as a conceptual artist. Could you please provide a background on what it means to be a conceptual artist?
Conceptual art as a term comes from 60s and 70s about the art that evaluates, concept or the idea of the work as much as, not as much, more than the work itself, more than the final object or the final artwork. But for me, I see both equal. I can't imagine making work that doesn't have an idea. I always start with an idea, or the idea brings me to develop work. And so the object is as equal, or the final, art piece or art pieces is a product of conceptual thinking and mapping. So they all go parallel. Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. You've exhibited work in quite a few places around the world. Is there a particularly rewarding experiencing the arts that you'd like to share with us?
That's a hard one, because I have been, privileged. I had the privilege to go to different places and make art. The one that I really remember now, as I remember always, was a short project that was in Sinai in Egypt, in my home country, where I was living in Egypt at the time, and I didn't know that this community didn't valued women in a different way. So as soon as we got there, we didn't see women around, and I was like, oh, what's going on? And as you know, we were like 21 international artists, and we were like, everybody can do whatever they want in this short term. And for me, it was like first investigating where is the women. And when I talked to the men, it was kind of their perspective of being their household is precious, and women, their girls go to school to a certain age, and boys go maybe more, or because it was a Bedouin community, it's complicated. So for me, the artwork is to record by writing, going to different houses and record different men, like talking about the whole conversation about, tell me more, what's your mother's name? And then they write their name, and then tell me about her. And all this kind of conversation, I was thinking that it's valuable for this community member to kind of reevaluate things and how they think about women. And at the end, I found this huge water container that was abandoned in the desert. And I was able to cover, by using all the fabric we use from different names, many of them, to cover the whole tank of these women, as an honor for them, and contribute, as their valuable contribution even behind the scene. But they are now open, and their names are there for everybody to remember. So this was, I still remember this work, and remember all the conversations and all the people I talked to and worked with.
It does make me wonder how you were received as a working female artist in that area. But it does sound like in the end that people really were doing this to honor the women in their lives. Yes?
Yes, a lot of respect. And they know kind of, because I'm coming from Alexandria, Egypt, which is a city, you're coming from a city that has different dynamics. They will laugh with you, they will bring you coffee, and, just like kind of, make jokes and stuff. And because you are for them, it's different for them. You're not their own, your own family. But that doesn't mean that they don't respect their people. It's just kind of different perspective in a different community that was kind of hurtful and interesting at the same time.
Okay. And what did the women feel? Or how did, I guess not speaking for them, but being honored like that?
I have met few, but not many. I wasn't allowed to, like some of them were allowing me to go visit their houses, some are not. Some are, you can't tell because people don't really communicate this. It's kind of personal. And it sounds like adaptation, people adapt to what they have. So I can't really tell what was going in their minds, but definitely it's a sad thing to happen.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that.
thank you.
What are you looking forward to working on during your stay in place residency?
Oh, okay. So I have been since 97, I have been incorporating text in my work, and text is as a very important part in the work as meanings and coming with new meanings. Sometimes the text is like, it's coming from ancient Egypt text, like translated into Arabic. And then when I start playing with the text and moving it and layer it, it will come with different meanings and, surprising meanings for me too. And this have been fading a bit in my work. It took kind of a pause spot, and then it came back strongly few years ago with me reading Italo Calvino's Invisible Cities and deciding to incorporate this in my work, translated to English. And then so an Italian text translated to English, I translated to Arabic, and then from Arabic, what I'm trying to do here in the residency, that coming back to more research on how to use language as the original, the second step, the third step. So it's more like the development of text, and also looking at different fonts in different, in the human culture. There is a lot of things I'm not aware of that I would love to know more and practice this. So and in my head, I want to kind of call it the invented language, like a new language that's coming from maybe Arabic text developed to something else, or I don't know. So the cool thing that I want to focus on language writing fonts to bring something new to my work, and also to share it with people, to share the journey, like the steps.
All right. Thank you. Okay. So, where do you practice your creative work?
This one is funny because it is always here. It's my head. I believe it's my own studio. And coming from a different continent, and being like in a different place, and you don't know if when you're gonna have actually, let's say, a grant to have a studio, or you are working from your dining room, or you have a big production that needs a big space that you can mess and do whatever. So I have been nonstop working in my head, and it's kind of it's enjoyable, and nobody can move this from nothing can control this but me. So the circumstances now, even with COVID, I was like, okay, more books, more work, more thinking, more research, more, so it's kind of adaptable. And I learned this from being an immigrant. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I have to say, I love that answer. The idea of that your studio is in your head. It's always in there. You're always working then, or
Yeah.
yeah.
It's good and bad, because you have this anxiety too all the time that there is no weekend sometimes, but it's very enjoyable that you can control when to work, where to work, and it can be anywhere. Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. All right. It's interesting because my next question you might have answered, but says, what could you not do without as an artist?
Again. Yeah. And books, by the way. I can't do without books. Never. because books are for me like my inspiration. They are also, I use, if you have seen, when you see my portfolio when I applied, you will see the book sculptures. So books sometimes are a form that I use as for the book, for making sculpture out of books, like using the book as an element. But it always starts as books, as they are the main thing for me that I can't do without. I can't do without an old book, and I can, you know, somebody else has somebody else's note. I always love buying old books, that secondhand books that coming from other people with having their scribble and notes, and this adds something new to your book. Maybe when you're reading, and this actually came from my dad's, because my dad was always having write notes on his, you know, the books he's reading, and you will always find after years he's not here anymore, but you can see, look inside and see, oh, that's how he was thinking, this can lead to this, and vice versa with everybody else. So yeah, so my head and books.
Well, that's nice. It makes me wish more that you could be here, because we've tried to stock the residency with secondhand books of all different topics, because you never know where somebody might pull inspiration from for their art. So
yeah,
okay.
that's great.
Yep. Who were or are your biggest inspirations in the arts?
As I am always into history, and some of my favorite artists, I don't know their names, so because they are unknown. So my biggest inspiration is history, is the human history that we could, and I'm fascinated that always the new finds, like a friend of mine, like when somebody says, oh, there is something, they found something in Egypt, or they found something in Nepal, or, you know, Chile, or wherever, it's for me, that's a reward, that's like a present for me, like investigating this, because the human culture as layers, it shows more in history, and that's the most exciting thing for me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what inspires you and really drives you in your work? I know history inspires you, but like maybe topics or things.
Anything new for me at the time. Like when I sometimes plan for, you know, let's say let's say we're talking about language, and when I'm doing language, I found out about tools, about how they write, and then this takes me to something else. That's the most interesting part, that I'm always looking for, to leave an open something, to be flexible, and leave something to learn from. And that's always like what buzzes me. That's why I love going to residencies and love changing places, because it's always, it comes with whatever is happening around is gonna drive you somewhere else, because as human, we are affected by everything around us. And for me, that's a big part of my work. That is how I observe whatever is going around, whatever this community is, whatever this, sometimes it's just from environment. Sometimes it's just like, you know, an objects found objects. So it all depends. So yeah, new discoveries, new little things that I'm not aware of, that will always, you know, inspire me for something new. Yeah.
And that's definitely why we provide residency experiences, because people, you know, might pick up a rock here, and that's enough of an inspiration to drive them down a whole new channel of thought or something. So yeah. Okay. And I know much has changed with COVID-19, but do you have any upcoming shows or residencies or other art events?
My residency with you guys. It was like, yes, I'm not going to be in Michigan, but I know that, and thank you, Sue, for organizing all of this. It's something to look forward to, and it's good that it's not canceled, that I can still work and I can still have goals and, drive for every day. And it's very helpful for artists in this time because we're all kind of freaking out, and this is kind of this is kind, I'm not just artists, everybody's freaking out. But I believe when you're busy with something that you really love, it's going to be relaxing. So I'm looking forward to the stay in residency with you. And also I do have 2001, I do have a solo exhibition coming with women in their work gallery here in Austin. And it's going to be a big show. And I'm having a blast of, I have a good amount of time to do research, take it easy, go for, production, and everything is going to be taking time, which is a blast for any artist. So
Okay, all right.
That's the two things I have going.
All right, good. What is your biggest piece of advice for working in the arts, or somebody looking at working in the arts?
I have to say, a lot of times, especially when you come from a different culture and move to absolutely, when in a place you don't know anybody and you kind of start over. For me, I had sometimes I had doubt about how important art is in general, but not how do I say it? That's from the struggle of the change, and it's the hit of the change. But my advice is for artists that I always have this confidence on me that never to give up, and always that there is waves. There's going to be some days that's going to be some really good days, some going to be sometimes some challenges, and challenges are mostly going to make you more strong as an artist, because you will see yourself, you need believers. The first believer you need is yourself. So as soon as you are confident about what you do and do your best, just do your best, it's going to be it's going to happen. So things are going to change. It might change slowly. It might change fast for other people. It all depends. But we all know that without art, we can't, our kids are not going to be happy as adults, because art is going to, it makes you communicate yourself with the world and see other things, discover things about yourself that people don't. Sometimes they don't know something till they enter this exhibition space and look at this work and come and connect. So we are doing a very important job. Doesn't matter what's going on around, especially now. We don't know what's going on, but we should be believers that this is one of the most important things for people and for us.
Okay, that's great. So just my last question, is there anything else that you'd like to share with us?
I would like to thank you for offering, instead of, postponing, find something else, like that we can still work.
Okay. Well, I have to say it's been a pleasure to talk with you. I wish we were at the dinner table routinely during your stay to be able to continue our conversation. But we do wish you the best in your creative work, and we really look forward to seeing what you're doing over the next 2 weeks and beyond that. And we will share with our community what you're doing over the 2 weeks on social media. So to those watching, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and check our website to see what Rehab is working on. Thank you for your support for the Good Heart Residency program. We and the artists and writers we work with really do appreciate your support. We hope that you can join us throughout the summer as we bring other artists participating in stay-in-place residencies. Thank you, be well, and goodbye from Good Heart.